Welcome back to our discussions about telco industry and the future of the technology in general and how it will gonna evolve, and I try to understand where we are and where we're gonna go. Today we're gonna discuss the concept of the cloud services and the relation between this and the telco industry and the technology industry in general. Cloud hosting is a concept that's been introduced during the last 5 years and highly pushed and been supported by all the service providers and all the solution providers all over the world. Mainly, as I have mentioned in my previous sessions, that it is not something new or just come out of nowhere. It is just a rebranding of the managed hosting, or what we used to say the complex hosting. This already been there since almost 15 or 20 years ago. It used to be provided only by the hosting companies because we had an infrastructure hosting companies. Then the solution providers, all the big solution providers, Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, HP, all the names of the technology providers, yeah, they decided that to have their solutions on their own premises and on their own data centers, and to just provide it and give the solution, outsource the solution directly. Right now, some of the solution providers and some of the technology providers limiting some of their solutions to be available only on the cloud. Cloud services has a pros and cons, and mainly for critical industry like telecommunication industry and other industries, whether we are going to the cloud temporary or permanently, partially or fully. I'm gonna start with the cloud services pros. Cloud services has a very important benefit for the business, which is what we call time to market. Time to market is one of the most important benefits of the cloud services, that you already, if you are relying on one of the big service or solution providers, the solution already there, it's hosted on the cloud, and it is ready to publish. You just start to configure your solution, and that's it. So instead of doing all the hassle of the implementation, integration, etc., you save a lot of time to start your system. Second most important benefit for relying on cloud services, that there is no initial capital required to start your new service or new product there. For example, if we are going to build our new CRM in our company, you need to go procure the hardware, prepare your data center to install the hardware there, buy your license, go in the entire procurement process for buying and acquiring your license, doing the installation, have the vendor or having the partner to do the installation, then start to do the configurations and implementation to start your project. And I'm talking about something straightforward like having your CRM or your ERP, something like this. No, in the cloud services, you don't need to do any of this. You don't need to pay for license in the beginning, or to buy hardware, or to build the infrastructure. All of this, it is already something that's been taken from your scope, and the solution providers and the cloud providers already taking the responsibility of that. The third important aspect, that the operational cost. In cloud services, normally the cloud provider, they are looking after all the housekeeping activities that require to do to take care of your solution. So by default, automatically your cloud provider taking care about your patching, the updates, the scalability, the installation, the backups, all the routine activities, the operations, which is taking a lot of effort This time to discuss the cons of relying on the cloud services. The first challenge here with relying on the cloud services that this is OpEx, so you need to pay monthly or yearly or quarterly for your cloud subscription, and here it increased the operational cost financially because this is a subscription-based service, and it puts you in a risk of on your business continuity in case of any challenge in the company, in the cash flow or manager. But at the end, if you have a challenge financially, simply they can cut the service on you, and this happened already in one of my previous projects. The other critical disadvantage of relying on cloud services that you don't have control. There is no control at all on the platform. It's 100% controlled by the solution provider or the cloud provider, and you are just hosting your information and your data there and your services and your customer information. One of the most important challenges when we are taking the decision to migrate or to use the cloud services is the regulatory compliance, because for example in the Middle East and I believe in many other countries, service providers like Telco, like banking, they are not allowed to host the customer information out of the country or out of the specific security specific standards, and it is a bit challenging to have a solution provider or a service or cloud service provider meeting all your technical and business requirements, and in the same time having a hosting facility inside your country. One of the other challenges is it is a bit if you're gonna host your service on a cloud on remote data center in other country in Europe, and for example your company in the Middle East or in the States and your company in the Far East, you might have a risk of losing your business or having a business or service impact if you have any third party out of your control issue, like marine cables cut for example. So you're gonna lose your service and your customers will be severely impacted. Another important risk and disadvantage of using the cloud, that it is very difficult to migrate out of the cloud, and almost in some solutions it is impossible to migrate out of the cloud. So in case in future you take the decision to migrate out of the cloud, you need to rebuild everything from the beginning. Yes, most of the cloud solution providers promising that it is very easy and you can migrate your solution, you can take it to your premises and to download everything on site, but from the practical and reality experience, no, it is not that easy, and it is really challenging exercise tending to impossible, that when you have when you want to terminate your contract for any reason with the cloud service provider, you might need to rebuild everything from the beginning. Of course, you have still the risk of data leakage and security issues. This risk is mutual, even if you are hosting on-site or on-premise or on third-party provider. But for a large enterprise and telco providers or banking or critical services, having the service and the security controls out of your hands, we all know that it's a bit high risk. So that's it, the general view for the cloud services, pros and cons and the definition. And as I said in my previous sessions, I cannot tell you to go to migrate to the service or not, to use the cloud or don't use the cloud. I'm sharing my experience, pros and cons, and you need to study it deeply and carefully and take the decision based on your own situation and your own condition and your own vision. I'll be waiting for your comments, your questions, and in our live in our coming live we will gonna discuss all your comments and your concerns, and thank you.